welcome. Thank you. Happy Monday, everybody. Today, we are going to be talking about the Tuckahoe River. Hopefully I spelled that correctly. The Great Egg Harbor River and Lake Lenape. We're going to be starting our conversation off like I always do. We're doing this in partnership with John Anderson, Happy Captain's Boating Instruction, Mighty Huron Charters, and Sea Scout Ship 117. Just kind of quick housekeeping. Again, this is a Zoom call. I don't see anybody new on the call, so we're just going to skip over this and keep on moving. We're going to start this conversation somewhere a little bit different. Normally, we're talking about water that moves, we're talking about a river, or we're talking about salt water. Today, we're going to start our conversation on somewhere that actually doesn't move, right? We're going to talk about Lake Lenape. Lake Lenape is one of the largest lakes in South Jersey that you can actually take a power boat onto. Um, a lot of times when we're talking about, where do you boat in South Jersey? Where do you take your power boat in South Jersey? Some people are going to take their boats, go to Delaware River. Some people are going to go to the shore. Some people like to take their john boats and they like to go on lakes. Lake Lenape is one of those lakes where you can actually take some larger boats. Believe it or not, I take my pontoon boat down to Lake Lenape. It's a 24-footer. They actually have a 20-foot limit on that lake. But I have seen some other large boats on there. They do have some applications. They have to register your boat with or at that lake to kind of register with the authority at that lake to use it. But it's a good time there. It's different. It's not the Delaware River where you have lots of current and lots of water moving really fast and lots of debris and lots of trash. It's not the seashore where you have all that salt and you have lots of people and you have lots of seagulls to fight off. It's kind of a different atmosphere. And you can still be hanging out in your boat. You can hang out on, canoes and kayaks, or you can hang out on some john boats, maybe a 12-footer or a 15-footer or a 16-footer. Maybe you don't have a big boat, you don't want to go offshore, you don't want to go into the big bays, Big Great Bay, or you don't want to go to Cape May, or you don't want to go to the C&D Canal. Maybe this is an option. So let's look to see what is actually about getting onto Lake Lenape. So if you go to Lake Lenape's website, we just dropped the link to their website in the chat. It's a great resource. A lot of information here. The 2,000-acre park. Probably what I should have done was actually had a link image as to what this is here, right? I just put Lake Lenape here, bring it up, so we can actually see what this is. Bring it up on the map so you have an idea as to what we're looking at. Lake Lenape right here is kind of the top of the Great Egg Harbor River. That's why we're talking about it in relation to the world. So you can see that it's pretty big here, right? So they said it's about a 2,000-acre lake, lots of water, lots of places to hang out, lots of things to do on it. And it's navigable, right? You can drive your boat around on here. You can have a good time. I know I've had Captain Bill out there with me. Believe it or not, there's some races, lots of activities on this lake, lots of things to do, lots of places to do, lots of things to see. So keep that audio button off on that side. All right, let's look at the rules and regulations that they have for this lake. Like I said, it's a 2,000-acre property here, very large lake. All right, lots of opportunities here: fishing, softball, playground, etc. I want to talk about the boating per se. All right. Get down here to the boating page. Jump over to the boating page. All right, Lake Lenape. They have a yearly permit, which is only $5. Not a big deal when it comes down to it, depending upon what you want to do, right? Some ramps that you're going to go to, they want to charge you $25. They want to charge you $15 every time that you want to use it. Some places, some marinas, they want to charge you a $250 annual fee to use that ramp. But they do want to have a copy of your COI, your liability insurance on there, like any other marina would have. But it's only if your boat has a engine larger than a 9.9 on the back of it. That just so happens to be that if you're in New Jersey, if you are 13 years old and greater, right? So once you turn 13 years old and get a New Jersey boating safety certificate, you can operate a boat in New Jersey. So if you're 13 years old, you can operate a boat at 9.9 horsepower and less. So you're good to go there. Yep, you have to present all of their information at, they have a, when you show up to the park, they have a booth all the way inside at the, right next to the lake. I'll kind of show you where that is in a moment on a map. They have two applications, one for over 9.9 and one for under 9.9. They have a whole bunch of safety guidelines, just like any other place, right? Like kind of like the pool rules, right? Don't no running on the pool deck. They have some. They have a their operating hours from 7:30 to sunset. They don't want to put anybody out on the lake on a power boat after sunset because there's no lights on the lake. There's no buoys on the lake. So once sun goes down, it gets real dark real quick. They do post the sunset times on at the office right here in the picture right here. There's that's it. That's like the ranger station where you check in and out. All boats need to check in there. All questions, there's a phone number right there that you can call. It has a maximum speed, can't go over 40 miles per hour. So again, I mean, you're not going to be going real crazy fast on here. It's a big lake, but it's not too big. It's a great place to kind of get your feet wet into boating if you're really looking to kind of get introduced into the sport. There's also not a lot of oversight on the lake. I've been out there a whole bunch of times. Great place. A lot of people just hanging out, having a good time. All right, I'm going to transition to the chart now. Believe it or not, this chart does this. You do have two options of a chart for this lake. You can ask the ranger at the booth for a copy of, they have a topographical map of the lake at the booth. That's great to have on your boat. That way, when you're driving around, if you have any questions about what's underneath you, where you are, it's a great idea to have that. If you don't have that, Navionics is absolutely wonderful. Let me tell you. We're going to zoom in here on the lake. Going to zoom in on kind of the starting area. I guess I can zoom out to kind of give you an orientation. I will annotate a little bit here. Okay, right here is the ranger station. There's like a parking lot and a boat ramp. All right, I'm going to zoom in on it and I'll kind of orient you to that. Down here, off the page off the screen, if you will, down in this direction is Route 40. And this road here, that road there is Atlantic 606. If you're looking for some kind of orientation, hey, where am I in this world? Kind of a thing. Okay, stop annotating and zoom in. Watch my time so I don't get all screwy here. All right, zoom in here on what the boat ramp kind of a thing is here. So we have, don't want to spend too much time on this, but we do have the ranger station here. That's where you check in, check out. You have the boat ramp right here, and a parking lot for you to park your boat and trailer. Plenty of room, park your boat and trailer there, or park your boat and trailer on that spot. Plenty of room there. Other than that, you can see that the lake is pretty massive. A lot of places to go, a lot of places to see. Yeah, you go out here, you can fish, you can ski, you can tube. Gotta be mindful some areas where the further up the river, the further you go away from that boat ramp, the further up the lake you go, the shallower and shallower it will get. So as we can see here, the river kind of snakes around, kind of bends around here, and then it starts getting shallow. Not sure if you can see. Just the pink annotation will work. Okay, so I'll kind of annotate this here, kind of highlighting where the sandbars here are. So we have a 4 foot, we have a 3 foot, and a 5 foot, and a 4 foot. Now, keep in mind, you're operating a boat that's 19 foot, 16 foot, a 5 foot draft, 5 foot depth of water should not be that big of a deal. But in fresh water, you're going to have these things called lily pads, and lily pads have really long stalks. So if you go into shallow areas, you could get hung up with some grass. So be mindful of that when you go into shallow waters and fresh water. I just stopped sharing. No, I did not. Okay. All right. Same thing. The further you go north, it kind of widens out, but again, you start getting, it just overall gets kind of shallower. Still looking at 5 foot kind of average. We do have 8s all the way over to one side, but going across, we have a 5, and we have 5 kind of stretching across. 7 to 10s on the one edge, other than that 5 straight across. All right. I don't really want to go into going up the creek. I don't want to sway anybody in the wrong direction because it can get kind of intricate going up the creek. So just kind of stick to the main lake and you'll be good. But get out there, have fun, go fishing, and enjoy the lake. All right. Now we're going to make our way to the Great Egg Harbor River. And we're going to go the opposite direction on the Great Egg Harbor River. Starting at the top of the Great Egg Harbor River and working our way out. There is a lot of water up here, but not a lot of water. Okay. Keep in mind that you have this big deceiving basin up here. I'll annotate it so we can see it. I'll use brown. This big brown area, nice big sandbar. All right. At high tide, you might be able to get through there and might be plenty of water. All right, but at low tide, expect there to be not so much water and to get. Okay, so tread lightly going through there at low tide. At high tide, you should be good. At low tide, not so much. I'll zoom in so you can see what I'm talking about. If I zoom in, all right, we can see that contour line, right? We have the 3, change the color to pink. We have a 3, that means this is a 2, and that means this is a 1, or basically a 0. That means anything in that direction is either 1 or less than 1, meaning there's really no water in that direction. Okay. Stop annotating and zoom out. Okay, the first marina we have right here, directly underneath the 2, this is Mays Landing Marina. You know it says Spoonie's Marina right there, but it's Mays Landing Marina. We're going to start making our way south. Opens up nice and wide here. Keep in mind, all of this should be no wake zones marked around the houses, but just because it's not marked does not mean that it is not a no wake zone, right? So anytime you're within 200 feet of a marina, pier, wharf, or dock, that is considered a slow speed zone. All right, we're going to start making our way south. Sorry for the sniffles. If you're on my Wednesday call, you'll know that I had a cold last week. I am on the recovering end of that cold. Okay, here we are headed south, and we come to our first real kind of bend in the curve, right? And we have our first obstacle. At this obstacle, you have 2 options, right? Our 2 options are either hug the houses, or we can gamble and we can stay on the outside. Personally, I say hug the houses. All right. Why do I say hug the houses? Because we can zoom in and we can see that if we go on the outside, we're going to be churning mud at 2 foot, 1 foot. We're going to be nice, stuck high and dry. But along the houses, we have a 4-foot hole. We have a nice deep trough right along here. And if we look closely, since I have the chart, not the chart, I have the satellite imagery on, we can see the growth on the inside here of this island. So we can see maybe trees and bushes on the inside here. So we see that we'll be running aground. So make sure that you're staying on the outside. Make sure you're staying towards the houses, starboard side going south in this situation. Am I talking faster than the Zoom call? Someone let me know if I have to slow down or not.
Oh, I think you're good. As long as your
Okay.
voice holds up.
All right. My voice will hold up. They're just tough sometimes because I'm looking at the pan. I'm not looking at the screen, so it's hard to necessarily know if the pan on your screen is matching with my voice when I'm looking at. So that's all. All right. I'm going to be heading south here along the Great Egg Harbor River. Right here, we have this red line going across right here. This is really nothing for us to be worried about. This is a set of power lines I'll highlight it here with red line because it's a red line. Red line. Kind of can't say it because it blends in with the trees. It's over here. It says it's a overhead clearance of 65 feet. So we are clear. We should not have anything to worry about with that, unless we're a sailboat. If you're a sailboat, you could have something to worry. You could have some height clearances there. All right, we're coming south here. All right, right here is our next, I'm going to call it marina in quotes. Okay, this is a RV park. This is the River Beach RV Resort. They do have slips associated with their RV campsites. All right, so if you reserve a campsite, you can reserve a slip. And they do have a ramp for use by their campers. And they do have a small little beach to hang out on, and it's a nice little community and stuff going on there. So that I do qualify that as a arena. All right, I'm gonna keep going south. Did I skip one? Shady River? No, that's a little further south. Okay. Keep going south here. We should be coming across Shady River right here somewhere. Here it is. All right, next up here we have Shady River. All right, Shady River Marina is right here on the starboard side. These have been obvious, so I have not been circling them. Usually when they're not obvious, I do not circle them. So this is Shady River Marina right here. They do have a tidal gauge. That's useful, I guess. And there's an item of note here, but there is a buoy. So on the rivers, remember I mentioned that you would have red on your right when you're going up a river, right? Red on your right when returning home. I've said that a whole bunch of times. You don't always have to have buoys, right? The buoys are there to define a curb. The buoys are there to define a road. When it is obvious and when the river is deep enough, you don't necessarily have to have it, right? I mean, as far as we've been going along here, we haven't really come across any major navigational obstacles except for that one bend up at the top where we had to really kind of curve around those over by those houses. So there may be some sticks up there. There may not be. I have not I have not boated up in this area enough to know personally if there are channel markers or buoys up here or not. But just know that you do not necessarily have to have channel markers on a river to know if it's navigable or not. Consult your chart. If it's deep enough, feel free to go. All right, gonna keep going south. Oh, right here, I believe there's lost my mouse on the other computer. Trying to follow along. I thought I had a ramp right here. Oh no, that was the ski club. I don't know what that was. All right, going south here.
Hey, Paul, we have a question.
Uh-oh. Okay, I don't know if I have answers, but I'll try.
I don't either. You can unmute yourself
What's going on,
and
Bill?
ask your question.
Hello, good evening. I just wanted to interject so far. This is awesome. And just wanted to add at the top of the river, Paul, the
Yes, sir.
there's a restaurant up there, um, Sugar Hill Inn, and they have a wonderful waterside bar and restaurant. that people love to go to. This is a very, very popular place in Atlantic County.
Where at?
Yep. So if you come out of the marina and
Okay.
come across toward the inlet or toward the channel,
Yeah.
right at the head along the bulkhead in Mays Landing, on any Saturday or Sunday, there will be a huge raft of boats all tied together here.
Okay.
And they will be enjoying the sun and the fun and the water, and then keep going, follow the road um, toward the beach line, and then right here, yeah, right there in the corner, you'll see that anchor.
Okay.
In that corner is where Sugar Hill Inn is, and they have a pull-up dock. They have a place to go eat and get refreshments. Yes, yes, right there. A very, very
Awesome.
popular spot in Atlantic County for the boaters. And so everyone that gets here has to come from up and down the river. So it does get busy um, along the river.
This is good to know. This is good to
Just
know.
wanted to add that, yeah, everything you're doing navigation wise is spot on. But that was just one place I wanted to highlight, because that if anybody taking a journey, say you're coming from Ocean City and you're coming up the river, that's where you want to go. A lot of people come from Summers Point and other parts of Mays Landing. This is where they're going to congregate um, at the top of the river.
Sounds like we got to go there, Bill. I like it.
Yeah, yeah. You know, they should build some locks and connect the Lake Lenape to this, and it would be awesome.
That would be awesome. That
Yes.
absolutely would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yep.
That's good. That's good. Hey, you're on deck for Wednesday, by the way.
For Wednesday, okay. I'll okay.
All right, where were we here? I forget where I lost where I was. Thank you for that, Bill. Oh, that's awesome. I think I was. I don't know. Okay. Oh, here. I wanted to highlight this. Okay, so as we haven't had to talk about this kind of intersection since we have talked about since we have left the Delaware River and we left the Rancocas Creek. But anytime you have an intersection like this, you're going to have some sort of a buildup, right? Um, Especially with all the icing that we've experienced over the past winter. Be mindful as you cross. If you if for some reason that you have been going in this direction to go fishing, maybe even crabbing back there, be careful crossing that sandbar. Um, there always tends to be some sort of a sandbar that builds up right along that edge. So we can see here we have this 3 foot, right? We have this contour line that kind of really comes out right there. All right. Well, I don't know what that red line is. That just randomly appears. All right, so that sandbar moves and migrates with the icing, with that ice shoaling. Be mindful of that, be careful of that, especially after a nice big icing year that like we've had this winter. Expect it to have migrated a little bit further into the main river this year. So as we've seen on other rivers like this scenarios, you should kind of expect it to kind of be more like this. That's what we've seen in other scenarios, other rivers like this, other junctions just like this. Okay. All right, going south. Nothing around here. Oh, right here, we do have, I do believe that there is some channel markers right here to highlight this. See if I can find them here. It's hard to find them. There are channel markers right here. It's to highlight this sandbar. Because if I zoom out, you can kind of see how the river kind of really widens into like almost like a lake scenario. Wanted a pink to widen it, right? So I'll trace this out. It kind of keeps going here. Then it kind of goes around something, you know? Like, hey, what's it going around? But then we have this contour. We'll draw the brown for the contour. You have this big sandbar in here. So I'll draw the green for how you have to drive your boat. You have to drive your boat in this sort of a fashion. All right, there is channel markers in there to steer you around that. Just pay attention and make sure you're following those channel markers in there. They are there. I just don't know where they are because I'm not seeing them on the chart here. They're sticks. They're like they're telephone pole sticks. I don't see them there though. They're not highlighted on the chart here. And when I zoom in, I don't see them, but they're there. Unless someone ran them over. Okay. South here. All right, we come across our next our next marina. This marina keeps changing names. This year, it's Thompson Marina. Over here on the right, you can see all the magenta, pink sailboats. That's how many times it's changed names. Right here. All right. This year, last year going into this year, it's Thompson Marine. It's again, it's changed names a couple times. Actually, pretty big services over there. They have a rail. They have a rail system to put your boats in and out. Pretty decent setup. They can put some decent sized boats in and out. Actually, surprising to see the size boats that come in and out of this river. Okay, gonna keep going south on the river. Going on there. No. Nothing really going on with that's interesting. All right, so going from, I don't think I called that marina. What's that marina? There's no marina there. Is there a marina there? Hey, Bill, is English Creek Marina there? Do you know?
I'm seeing on the sidebar here, it says English Creek Marina.
Yeah, I'm
So
not sure if it's.
I believe that's if that's where I think if that's what it is called.
I'm not sure if it's there or not. I think that's an old defunct marina. I really don't think there's a marina there.
Yeah, you know, because there was one there as well. Because I can't tell if that's on the Patcon Creek. Is that Patcon Creek?
No, it's not Pacon Creek.
Then it,
That's.
then that's not the
Let's
one
see
I
how
was
old
thinking.
this panoramic photo is. Oh yeah, that's not there anymore.
Okay, yeah, that looks pretty deserted. Well, no, there's boats in the slopes for the picture.
Yeah, I just brought it up on Google Maps. It looks a whole lot worse. So
Okay.
Well, Ecklish Creek Marina, you still exist. I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
I did my best. All right, so coming down south here, following the river, keeping the channel markers. All these little alcoves here are going to be great spots to throw a rod in, throw a crab trap in. Kind of gets confusing though, so make sure you're paying attention to where you're going. You don't want to run aground. You don't want to all of a sudden, oh shoot, you think you're going to where you want to go and you wind up running onto the marsh. Every year, I'm sure Ed's seen it. I'm sure Bill's seen it. I'm sure even Chad's seen it where, you just scratch your head saying, hey, how did that boat wind up on top of that marsh? I'm sure other people are going to be listening to this later saying, how the heck did that boat wind up that far onto the marsh? And you just scratch your head. Okay, I'm gonna keep going south here. This is a kind of a junction, two rivers. You got the middle river. It really doesn't go anywhere. I can zoom out so you can see. Just kind of goes into the marsh. Doesn't really go anywhere. Right. Kind of going south a little bit here. Following the main center of the river. Okay. From here, all right, we're going to stop here for the Great Egg Harbor River at Beasley's Point. Down here on the bottom, I know I covered this on last week, but we have a couple things going on here. We have for the jet ski and wave runner groups, people, we have Beasley's Point Marina, Beasley's Point Sea-Doo, great guys. They'll help you in and out of the water. They have a rack system there. They'll drop your ski in and out. Absolutely great people. They have service center, great service, great group. They have bathrooms. If you're a member, they allow you to beach your ski there. Good stuff. Next up is we have, I believe this is the Tuckahoe Inn, right here, restaurant. Dock and dine scenario. You can dock your boat right along here. Go in and grab some food. Absolutely great food. All right. I think we could drop a link. Make sure you kind of call ahead, make sure that there's room. Some people do kind of anchor out and figure out a way to get over to there and back and forth. We do also have a ramp over here. You have Beasley's Point ramp. You can drive your boat in and out. Lots of parking, ample parking. A lot of stuff going on over here in this corner. I believe there's also a spot over here where if you're not part of Beasley's Point Sea-Doo, you can also beach your ski or beach your boat for free. I'm not sure which one of these, it's either this one or this one. I'm not sure which beach it is. I'm pretty sure it's this one. I'm not sure which one it is unless I'm on the boat actively looking at it, in all honesty. Okay. All right, while we're here, I want to jump across the river. And we're going to go up the Pacon Creek. Pacon Creek, you have to follow these channel markers like dead on. You can't veer from these channel markers. You have to follow the channel markers dead on. These things are literal sticks, like pieces of like branches with pieces of wood screwed to them. You got to follow them. If you don't follow them, you're gonna run aground. And if you don't believe me, there's a C2 boat or Boat US boat. Literally, they're just going to be sitting there waiting for you to run aground. It happens constantly. If we look close enough, you'll see the boats kind of running the line on the dock on the chart here. So what we're going to do is figure out a way so I can draw this the easiest. Oh, that's a good point reference here. All right, anyway, so there's going to be channel markers here, right? You can kind of see where they are. I'll draw a line. So it goes like this, right? It goes like that. It just goes straight, and you have to stick with that line. You don't veer from it. If you veer off of it, you're gonna run aground. No way around it. Just don't veer off of it. All right, after you get over here, there's a couple things going on. Stick to the channel markers all the way in. Keep following it in. You have a couple marinas over here. Over here on the starboard side, you have all action water sports. Over here, you have a rental facility. They have a lot of wave runners coming in and out of there. Just pay attention. Don't get ran over by them, and don't run over them. Just make sure you know what's going on. You actually have two rental marinas over here. You have all action power sports on right here. No, not a line. All action power sports over here, and you have a boat club over here. Okay, both of these are boat rental companies, so you have to really pay attention to what you're doing because they don't necessarily know what they're doing. So you have to just be mindful, pay attention to them. All right. Over here we have, I believe this is Waterfront Marine. Really nice marina right here. Like that. Right here we have Waterfront Marine. They have fuel. Good spot. And back here we have Somerset Cove. Back there, it can be tough to get into some of those spots because they have the current in and out there, but it's manageable and doable. This entire area right here by the bridge and by the marina is all no wake zones. Back here, I know it has a marina decal on it, but back here, these are all residential slips. Each one of those slips is owned by one of those houses associated with it. So it's not really a marina. It's more or less owned like condominium slips. Okay, once you get past all these marinas up onto the creek, it's wide open and you can have a blast. That's all. There are buoys. Okay, zoom in close enough. I think we might be able to see one. I think that's a buoy right there. That's a buoy right there. Or it could be a crab pot. That could be a crab pot. That could be a crab pot. I don't know. Pay attention for crab pots. Couple of things to watch out for on this creek. Crab pots, crazy boats going the other way, and yeah, crab pots, rental boats, crazy boats, and random pylons sticking up out of the mud. So there's random old where piers used to be or bulkheads used to be. There's a couple of them along this creek where they just used to be. Be mindful of them if you're running along the edges of the creek. You don't want to run aground and you don't want to hit them. Just don't hug the sides if you're going through here. All right, because some people do go back here. Don't be afraid to come back here. What people do come back here for, oh, not that one. Gotta keep coming around here. All right, over here we do have the dredge. All right, back here is the dredge beach. Nice spot where people like to hang out and beach their boat. Okay, it can get shallow in here. All right, and it can get crowded. It's just like the F Cove, just like the F Cove, just like Tyson Shoals, but it can get nice and toasty. All right, because again, it's a pool of water. The water just fills up; it doesn't go anywhere, so it gets nice and hot. Coming in here, just be mindful. If it's going to be your first time coming in here, check your depth as you're coming in. Go in at high tide. Check your depth finder on your way in, and just kind of remember your way in and out. Don't run around. Plenty areas to hang out. People. Annotation thing going on here. I've been able to beach the boats over here, and I've been able to get the boats over here. At low tide, this is not really passable. All right, so if you do go over to this side, just know at low tide you're not getting out. All right. Okay. All right, we're going to keep going a little further up on the creek. I'm not sure what the height of that bridge is. It's not marked, and it does not open. So that means it's very low. Okay. We do have a marina over here. This is Ocean Heights Marina. Yeah, it's the Ocean Heights Marina. Over here. Oh, I forget which one it is. Maybe it's this one. I think it's this one. Yeah, I think it's that one. All right, there really isn't anything above this bridge here where we are. There's really nothing above here. Anything above here just too shallow to go up. If you're anything bigger than a skiff, really this bridge doesn't open. Really no reason to go above there unless you're fishing in a skiff or anything smaller than that. Maybe a wave runner. Let's go back to the Great Egg Harbor River. Up and scoot down. All right, we're back to the Great Egg Harbor River, and we're back to Tuckahoe Inn. Now Tuckahoe Inn, let's go find the Tuckahoe River. All right, going back out to the center of the Great Egg Harbor Bay. We're going to slide a little bit to the north. Right here, we find all sorts of buoys. And we're going to follow these buoys into the river. All right, make sure that we're going to follow these buoys because if we don't, we could obviously run aground. Yeah, going to follow these buoys. Red right when returning home. Red right when returning up a river. Follow the buoys up the river. All right. There is a cut through on the back of this island. I have seen wave runners shooting through there. That is not a cut for big boats. Just be mindful if you're going to take that with a wave runner. It is a very tight turn on the inside of there. All right. So if you're in a boat, stick to the outside. Cut come around these turns and follow the main river. The river does snake its way through the marsh. All right, we have, let's kind of zoom out and kind of orient myself. We have a turn coming up. All right, the river continues. Here we have a turn. Here we have a turn. Leave. It's hard to. I'm looking at this. This one goes to Holtz, right? Yeah. So you kind of got to know where you're going and kind of keep track of where you're going. So here we're going to come across the red buoy. Basically, at the red buoy, you can either turn and go to Holtz or continue to go to Yank Marine. All right, which one do you want to go to? Where do you want to go? Where is your destination? All right, if you want to go towards Holtz Marine, Holtz Boating, Holtz Marina, all right, then we would follow this down to the south. All right, and then this river just snakes its way to the south. It does get nice and skinny, nice and tight. But as long as you stick to the river, you don't stray away from it, stick to the middle, you should be good. There really is no difficulty level on this, and it ends at the marina. You don't really have any reason to go past the bridge. They do have a travel lift here at Holtz. There really is no reason to go past there. I don't know what the height is on that, and it does not open. Okay. Back up to here. We will follow the river up to Yank. Now, if you're thinking if this river doesn't really look that big, but up at Yank Marine, I mean these guys are servicing some pretty substantial vessels, right? I mean these guys are servicing ferries, and they're servicing some of the big six-pack boats and some of the head boats along the Jersey Shore. So you get some big boats coming in and out of here every winter for their haul outs. Right here, we're going to come across a boat ramp, kind of the only boat ramp I've highlighted this entire conversation. This is the Tuckahoe boat ramp, or also called the Mosquito Landing here. It's dirt ramp, not dirt ramp, it's a concrete ramp. Small amount of parking. You get quite a few wave runners coming in and out of there. And just after that ramp, we're going to come across, this is Yank Marine. And again, at Yank Marine, you get a whole lot of commercial traffic coming in and there. Not a lot of commercial traffic coming in and out of there, but you get some big boats coming in and out of here. So the river, Tuckahoe River, is well traveled. The bridge, it does not open. There is a ramp, another ramp right up here. There's a Corbin City ramp. It's a shallow ramp and a very low bridge. The bridge only has 9-foot height. They're saying it's a preschool, so it's supposedly it opens. I wouldn't bet my money on it opening for you. But yeah, and there's no parking at that boat ramp. So, all right, that is all the water I had to cover today. Is there any questions? Bill, did I miss anything?
No, I think you covered everything very well and thoroughly.
A lot of water. I wasn't sure if I thought I was going to be able to cover it all pretty quickly, but surprisingly, took the whole time. But all right. On Wednesday, Bill will be covering everything from there until the Great Bay. He's got a big section to cover.
I
Yep.
do. And I do have to talk to you about that engagement, Captain Paul.
Yep. Absolutely.